All right, we have a quorum, so I'll call the meeting to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second? I'll second it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Robin, any public comments? No public comments. All right. You said the meeting's removed, minutes removed. And then green space discussion.
Oh, would you
Yep,
like to come
up
up and
here.
if y'all would like to join us?
I'm just here to kind of introduce Mark Davis with Beaufort County and the Green Space Committee. Have a seat. And Ethan James, who is, you all have met before, who is the real estate person representing the two property owners.
Correct.
So Mark sent some images for you all to be able to see the prop. And I'm gonna just let you give an update of kind of where we are in this process right now. Okay?
Sure.
Yep. Yep.
Turn it over to me, sure.
Turning over to you.
So as you, I think you all have some maps that were presented to you to kind of give you a description real quick to show you the two parcels and their proximity to your existing school. And so these parcels, oh, thank you, that's all.
Yeah. That might help.
These parcels, to give everybody an understanding, and I know some of you have attended some of our committee meetings and kind of seen how our committee operates with the Green Space program. We are an application-driven program. And Ethan here submitted an application to our program, and we have processed that application, and we go through our process just like you all do, go through your committees and discuss items. We are at a point now where we go through it, it gets recommended for due diligence. We are in that due diligence phase, and we have a Green Space Advisory Committee recommendation that allows us to continue working to negotiate with the applicant, with the school board ultimately, or the school district ultimately being the end landowner of the property, with Green Space funding the acquisition of the land. So it's really, that's kind of where we're at in the process. And we're just trying to figure out how to get to the finish line and meet everybody's processes that you all have as a school district and our processes that we have as a county and the Green Space Committee. But I feel that, you know, it would not just put words in people's mouths, but we've done enough due diligence and work in coordination with the school district that this seems to be a common goal of the school district and the county and the program. And we've got a lot of that in play. It's just how do we move forward to help achieve the goal of getting this land in your all's control so it stays environmentally protected and it doesn't get developed. And I'll answer any questions, or Ethan would like to jump in or add anything about his side of the experience, or turn it over to the committee.
Well, I'm not sure who else on the school board that you've spoken to. We got to get out of committee first, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not in favor of this. I just don't understand it. I don't understand why, if somebody is trying to buy the space and make it green space, why does the school have to have it? Why are you, there's something that's not connected with me. Why are you trying to give it to the school? I don't get it. We don't need it. It's only 6 acres. We can't develop it. It's right next to a school, so we don't need it for a park for a school. There's, I mean, you mentioned that it's marshland. So, I mean, to me, is it?
It's not marsh. It's high ground that could develop.
Offering potential marsh front views and access. So
That's your all's property.
Our property.
To the east that you all currently hold.
I still don't get it though. I still don't get it. I mean, if there are concerned citizens out there that want to buy the property and give it to the county, give it to the city, so the city or the county can maintain it as green space, why give it to the school? I mean, is it just so that we can mow it? Because if we take on 6 acres, we have sold parcels a little bit larger than this because we can't do anything with it, and it's a liability to us. So we've offloaded property that we can't develop because it's a liability to us. People trip and do anything on there, then it's our responsibility. So I'm failing to see why it has to come to the school.
And I've been involved with this, and spoken to the green space people and so on. Some people were going to buy that. And they were looking at putting another parcel, was
Most of the inquiries that we have received on this property have been apartment developers, storage unit developers, retail. You know, to have an opportunity to take 6 acres of an already highly congested area and preserving it in perpetuity for green space, I think is a benefit that we can all agree on is much needed in the area, Ladies Island specifically. You know, I think coming to the school board is really just that it runs contiguous with the Ladies Island Middle School property.
Where's you up?
yeah, let me explain. I've walked all this ground. You see the line here, that's the wooded area inside that box here. It is no different. It's really the same woods that we have right here. This area back here is open. It's got grass, but it's I don't think it hardly ever gets mowed. It might get mowed once or twice a year. It's
Hi.
really hard ground, if you will. It butts right up here. Here's where the retention pond is right there. It butts right up next to it. It makes it a total campus. They could use this for a lot of things for the school. They could use it, they could put our own gardens back there. Just like what they have at Will Branch Middle School. There's a lot of opportunity. The county representative, David Bartholomew, who the county council has been talking, he said, they could do a farmer's market there on the weekend. So the big thing we had is, okay, who's going to take care of this? The county's going to use it. We would charge the county for any upkeep to use it. We already have a contract to keep the area swept up and everything else, cut down the undergrowth when it gets too high. We already have that right there, right across this Dragon Road right here. And we also want that kept under our control. And if somebody else comes in there, that road could be used for other purposes. And we don't want that. Because I picked up my grandkids there years coming up there, and there's a big line going up there into the school. They're going to change and make another road coming up here and put a stoplight right there. And so the main entrance will be here. This will be another access, mostly for emergency vehicles or for a problem that comes up, so they could get out if they need to get in or get out for an emergency. That's another access to us. When you walk it, it's just a natural to be there. Cost of overhead is minimal for us. And if there's any use for it, and the county wants to use it for anything, like a farmer's market or whatever, we could easily have the contractor who does the work for just give us a price for cleaning up or doing whatever we need right there. It's a good piece of ground. I was amazed. I thought it would be wetlands. It's not wetlands at all.
A lot of that water drains towards you too. So that's the high point.
Yes, it's a high
bound. So it would naturally just absorb.
Right.
It's naturally occurring, keeping it natural.
Right.
Stormwater
Right.
occurring and a natural tree canopy.
And what the green space wants, they just don't want anything built on it. And we don't want to build anything on it. And the county doesn't want to build anything on it. And the county doesn't want, and frankly, we don't want the county messing around in our areas anyway. And it would be right next to us and they would be messing around in our areas because they have to get access to it. So it's a natural thing and it costs us nothing. Other than we would have liability, is your point's right. We would have liability. But we got liability for this part over here as well. That's basically just wild. You know the ground.
I do, just wait to see what Ms. Bora has to say.
Mrs. Borat?
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. Are there other green spaces that are owned, that are not owned by the town or by a town or the county?
Yes, there's a lot
Oh,
of,
yeah, a lot of-
yeah, I mean, they're all throughout the county.
Can you
there's
give me an
tremendous-
example?
Just run on Hilton Head. Yeah. Did you go in the other road to Hilton?
Or in certain places of the county give green spaces to nonprofits as well, to them as well. So it's not like they're just giving this green space to the school district. There are different parts of the county, for different areas. The green space program is a huge ordeal in the county. People are
I know that.
actually,
I would like to speak to the Mr. Davis. What's an example of a green space that is not run by a government like the county or the towns? Sorry, the county or the town. You said
Yeah,
there's
so
a
mostly
nonprofit that owns a green space?
Well, no, they're usually took the forms of conservation easements where the private landowners hold their property still and they buy the development rights up on conservation easements. So that would be a conservation easement. When we get applications for fee simple purchases, like what was applied for, then of course, then we are outright purchasing the land as a government entity. So therefore you find the most reasonable owner of it, being that these parcels are directly adjacent to a school property, that makes the best and most fiscally responsible sense with the taxpayers' money.
Okay, so circling back to that, is there, I guess then my question more refined would be, are there other examples of the county buying green space property and then giving it to another entity?
So let me go on that. We fund the acquisitions. So I think that's one thing we clear up is that this idea is that we would fund, like a program is made to us, an application, we fund them. We are currently doing that we've done it with Hilton Head Island as a municipality, and we're also doing it with the town of Bluffton as a municipality. They apply to the program, they seek the purchase of the property, and we fund it, and it has to meet the green space goals, which is the tax, which is law, that it gets protected.
Well, the funding, that brings me to my second question. What is the amount that's going to be paid for these 6 acres?
We are still in the process of negotiating that in our due diligence, but they have applied for an application up to 2.25 million for the 6 acres. And we have the Green Space Advisory Committee's recommendation to allow staff to negotiate with the applicant up to that price as we continue our due diligence.
Okay, because one thing I did notice is this property has been on the market since 2020 for a combined price of 2.4 million. So were they turning down commercial offers, or was the county intervening because you've said there was a lot of people that have come up? I saw that on Zillow, it's advertising, it comes with a dedicated billboard space. So you said that there's been a lot of offers on this property since then? Or interest anyways?
Yes, ma'am. So over the years, we have had multiple offers. We have gone under contract a few times under LOIs with certain retail individuals, one in particular who has expressed a lot of interest in the past. We've had a signed LOI under contract. I think what we keep running into is development costs in today's just today's world. So we've come really close to selling these parcels. I will tell you that the landowners, myself, I'm a native from Beaufort. The landowners are native Beaufortonians as well. They would like to see this, and they have been very patient owners of trying to push this through in this capacity with the Green Space Tax Committee. For us to have the opportunity to preserve this amount of land in an area that is consecutively getting $500,000 per acre along this strip and corridor, by them offering it at this value. And, it just, you know, is something that they would like to see. So we've had other interests in the property, but this is the direction that the landowners have guided me to take to try and get accomplished.
Okay,
And
Thank you.
Yeah, we see a common thing with that, and Ethan will tell you is whenever these applications, we have our process of how these things roll through, is at the end of the day, you're all as local landowners, people who live and work here in Beaufort County, they ultimately decide who they sell their property to, and if there's going to be a conservation outcome. We are an application-driven process. This application came to us through our discussions and our cadence of our program and how we would fund it. It makes the most sense based off of you all being where you are and having property. We're here to assist in funding it, but it's up to you all to decide if that's the right choice.
Let me start off by saying, as a representative of this area and of this property that of Laytown Middle School, we would love to have it because there's several things we could do with this in terms of safety and security. If something happens, this could possibly be somewhere where we could even get kids, because if something happens at certain point in times, if you move kids from a school, you have to have an onboarding, offboarding area. This is close. This is very close to us. That's the first thing. Second thing, last night, I was at the county council meeting. County council meeting went to about was about 9 something last night. And it was very unusual, and it was the same thing talking about realtors in the developers. In Beaver County, point blank period, the community is tired of developers and they're tired of being developed. This area lays out and is busting through the seams. So that's why it's important when we're doing this kind of stuff that you talk to representatives who are representing this area and who understand what's going on. Because in fact, we had people from Hilton Head last night who came and spoke out about developers on this side, because they're just quite frankly tired of it. They're tired of Beaufort busting through the seams. They're tired of people coming in and developing this point of property where we talked about the SIC several times, because this piece of property was so close to the school till it's almost the same thing concern for the kids and for whoever gets this business. So we spoke about this property several times. Even watching the people who are almost like in front of the middle school. If you who they're new basically, I think they're like a retail. There's a retail store. That's a big company out front. People are watching that. That place, sometimes their business is packed. So you put that business there, who sell? They sell they sell a whole remember the guy who used to be out there by 21.
Liquidation.
There you go. Thank you. So it's a huge liquidation place, and they sell a ton of things. So they draw a huge crowd alone. So when you're thinking about people coming from liquidation, and they got about 5 or 6 huge big trucks back there, they got a whole bunch going on. You put this place here, we're gonna be surrounded by people and organizations and businesses, and it's quite frankly, and it really bothers me that we're worried about how much the county is paying for this property, and hell, we was ready to give away easement to a guy who didn't even have the answers for us just last meeting. Well, we come in and we want to turn down the county today, and the county trying to say, hey, look here. The owner is saying they're willing to give you a piece of property that's adjacent to you, maintain it. Your kids can do agriculture or whatever, or different things on it. Understand and learn the schools and talk to the members who represent those areas before you go off. And I don't mind you asking questions saying that, hey, why they're giving it to us, but just to say that we don't need it, that's preposterously ludicrous. And this is not the first time we've had this conversation where there have been a lot of people at the table who said they agree that we would be interested in having this and having this. So I'm flabbergasted. I am about some of the questions that were asked. And somebody said they know green space. Green space is all over this county. You got to sign, save the green space, save the county, save the land. So in terms of it, I'm definitely on behalf of my constituents, I'm definitely interested in seeing what we can do with it, how we can move forward with it, and how we can get this process moving forward. Whether that in terms of, I'm just one board member, but whether that in terms of getting with attorneys and figuring out what that looked like, where you go from here, whether it's taken to the full board. I think that maybe if we need to take it to the full board to see what we need to do next, then when it comes from me, I'm interested in that. Thank you.
Mr. Dallas.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I certainly appreciate the questions that have been raised about the appropriateness of us receiving it. The prior conversations I've been involved in, including attending the meeting with the Green Space Committee, which they were very much stoutly in support of it coming to the school district, primarily because we have large plots of land and we try to protect those, and it also will inhibit the increased commercialization of that particular area. I remember that conversation very distinctly. And so the 6 acres coming to us contiguous to our school site means that we could have it as sort of a passive type park in terms of kids maybe holding benches out there. I mean, lunch tables out there or something like that. I'm not proposing that, but I just think it's really pretty neat that the county wants us to have it. It's contiguous to a school. The community has repeatedly said they don't want continued growth and intensified development. So I appreciate my colleagues' questions. I think they're appropriate for them to ask. But I still remain in support of acquisition of the property. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so all 3 of my colleagues now, or 3 of our colleagues have said, how can we use this property? So that begs the question, what can we use the property for? If it's intended to be green space, what can we use the property for? Or does are we just mowing the lawn for it again? I'm saying, that, sure, we can if it's gonna be belonging to the school, we can let kids on it, we can let people walk on it, but what can we do with the property?
That's true. As far as stipulations of
Yeah.
what can't be
Yeah.
used for. So,
Money.
so statutorily, the green space program, when money is used legally, that the property has to be protected in perpetuity. Right? So with there, like you lock it down, grant agreements go on it, and we put covenants on it, and it dictates how that property at, 20 years, 30 years from now, new school board, new staff, they can't just say, hey, let's just go do something with it. That we have to meet the statutory laws of using funds to achieve that goal legally. But within that, I can just give you an example of ones that we've worked with regarding the town of Hilton Head, where they're the purchasers. They take title of property. We grant them the funds. It's there at closing. It works as a normal real estate transaction, and it goes through. Then we put covenants on it, and all gets recorded on the land. And those things kind of dictate the intensities of the uses, but it has to be passive in nature. So as long as it could be, we typically, of course, I will tell you that there's some wonderful tree canopies, and I think the school district does a wonderful job in maintaining a lot of its tree and its canopies along its campuses. I think the Beaufort County School District should be very proud of that and the way it looks at its land compared to a lot of other districts around. So I just want to throw that back at you. This would be something where we would encourage you to look at the property and understand there's a lot of great canopy, because those trees do a lot of wonderful things for the environment. It does a lot of wonderful things for flooding and stormwater, nature, air quality. These are all primary goals of the green space program. I'd hope they're all primary goals of every resident of this county. And in that, you can just kind of find small, low light type uses in that. It doesn't have we're not mandating that you do it. That's why we like you all deciding. We don't want to do it. We just kind of put a restraint on how much of the property can be converted and developed into something. But you all kind of decide through your own operation in your own thing, what that is, what your needs are. We don't dictate that for you.
So we can decide to fully develop the property.
No, that's not what I just said.
Okay, but I'm just trying to clarify, and I'm not trying to be adversarial about this, I promise. I'm just trying to understand. The other thing, I mean, you have some justification here, but it clearly states that it's page 5 of 5. So where's the other 4 pages of that?
That's the application, and that is the applicant. So in our applications, we have questions. These are general questions that all applicants must answer as a part of a green space fee simple application type. These are the answers in which Ethan filled out and supplied to us that we then brought to the committee. And then so we thought it would be a good idea for you all to have context to what those answers were and what made him choose to apply.
Okay, so I'm still struggling. You haven't really satisfied the answer to my question. Why the school district? Other board members have said why the school district, and the only thing that you said basically is because it's next to our property. And I just don't, I'm not seeing it, and I'm sorry, Richard, you tried real hard, but you didn't sell me on it. Why is the county not keeping it? If you're gonna put these things, these statutory conditions on the green space, why don't these things just go on it and the county keep it, and then it can't be developed? Or the local municipality, why don't you put these covenants on them and they can't touch it? Why us?
You all make the most sense as I think some of the items that have been discussed. I would say that I think your questions, obviously you have a concern on it. You've heard answers on that, and it sounds like you're not going to change your mind.
I absolutely will change my mind. I'm open to changing my mind.
Okay.
But right now,
Ask a better question.
right now, nothing's tripping my trigger. As far as I don't understand why we would take on a piece, 6 acres of land of which we can't develop, we can't do anything for. We're just going to look at it and mow it every once in a while. There's only because it sits next to our property. When somebody else can bear the responsibility, the legal responsibility, the legal liability of people traipsing around on that property, and somebody else can pay to mow it.
I think it's partnerships. You know, I think the green space program and the county, and we hope the Beaufort County school, where we look for good partners. I don't think the words that are coming from your mouth sound like a good partner, and we would like for you to be a good partner in it. And I think that by introducing willingness to kind of do that is the type of stuff that makes the green space program and our applications more joyful and better. And we look for good partners. We partner with the municipalities. This is an opportunity to partner with a school district, and we're looking for the school district to be a good partner with the program. And we see this as an opportunity to combine and align goals. And I can say that, as you know, I know you can say that Ethan here has kind of done that. We kind of run it through the process of what we do. And I can just say, we hope that at the end of the day, the school district sees an opportunity to partner with the green space program. And we look forward to working with you to try to get a good resolve on it.
Well, I'm only one of 11, and clearly it seems like there's a lot of favor for this. But that's okay. That's how this is all supposed to work, anyways. Mrs. Boatwright.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I am also a little bit flabbergasted. I think it sounds like a fine thing. I don't think anyone's objecting to putting nice tree canopies and farmers markets next to a school. But I think the responsibility of a school board and an elected body is to, number one, talk about the logistics, talk about what this means. What are the possible downsides? We got to protect not just the idea of a green space. So I feel like for some reason there's a confrontation vibe that's coming through my Zoom a little bit. I think it would be irresponsible not to question this, because I think this is an unusual sort of arrangement. And my questions about how much we're spending, I mean, we are, stewards of taxpayers' dollars. My questions about why are we doing this way are not because I don't think we should have a green space, or I'm trying to, put up a storage unit next to Ladies Island Middle School. But it's just, you've got to think these things through. I think the questions of liability, I think the questions of, to Ms. Crutchfield, we have pretty strict usage rules for all of our property. So when we start talking about, we're going to have a hiking path and a picnic, and we're going to, have farmers markets, we got to think about that. How does that work with our current policies? It's not that we're out of, against it or against children having green space or any of these things, but I think that these are really reasonable questions that a responsible body of elected officials would ask. So I guess my biggest question, because this will go to the full board, this is to the committee here, just kind of talks to you and get some information, is if the school board were for some reason to say we don't want to take on the responsibility of the green space, would the county still buy it and turn it into a little county park adjacent to the school? There are several examples of county parks and city parks that are next to schools. Oscar Fraser Park comes to mind, which is very close to MC Riley. would you guys do that? Or if the school district says that they are not interested in taking this green space on and, you know, taking on responsibility and liability, would you guys then not proceed with the purchase of this property?
So I can't speak for county council, but I can tell you through conversations that I've had with the committee, which some of you all have been involved in, and just the nature of this particular application, is that, to answer your question as honestly as I can, is that the conversation and the recommendation that I have to operate off of from the Green Space Advisory Committee, as you all know, committees work and staff basically does what the committee's things are. That recommendation is that we would fund it if the school board took ownership or the school district took ownership.
Mr. Carr, do you have anything?
No, I've enjoyed the conversation, but I'm there are some questions, but I think it would be a benefit for the school district to have access to this property. That's me.
Mr. Dallas?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just would like to share that at the meeting that I attended of the Green Space Committee, there was one person there who had really challenged the school district on another particular parcel elsewhere that is totally unrelated to this. But that individual actually voted in support of this, which was very pleasant to see. And know that she had enough faith in the school district that she thought we would be very good stewards and protective of this particular piece of property and use it in ways that's consistent with the ideals of the Green Space Committee. So that was very touching to me, because having seen that particular person interact when that person is in opposition, they hold their own when they feel like there's something that is really not just totally in sync. And so again, I respect the questions that my colleagues have raised. I also respect the rebuttals that my other colleagues have offered. It seems like the school district has a very good reputation in how we handle properties that are under our dominion. And so I think this is one of the beneficial outcomes of having that type of prestige within the county, as well as our financial acumen. So just wanted to share that, but totally understand the questions.
Mrs. Sayer, Mrs. Frazier, either one of you have anything?
I've enjoyed the conversation as well. And just to let you know, I'm all for the land being gifted and any possible use that a school can use it for. But thank you.
All right. We don't need a motion or anything, right?
To go to full board?
Are you looking for a motion at this time?
I'm not, this is
You
your.
were just, I mean, you were just reporting kind of where we
I was
are.
invited, I just would come in, we've kind of gone through our spot and then basically really here what we're trying to achieve is that we're trying to achieve, knowing the program, how we work with, like your point with the attorneys is we grant the funds. What we're trying to figure out is the best way, if you all choose to want to be the owners of property in accordance with the Green Space Program, how we end up getting that purchase done. And
I
that
mean-
would, how that would look.
So at some point, and maybe tonight or another night, you're gonna need us, the board, to authorize the superintendent to move forward with the purchase.
That is
And y'all are kind of negotiating already?
We can, so
Okay.
it can work. That's kind of what we're looking for. And we're not, that's what we're saying is we don't try to come in and tell people, we understand like
Okay.
working with municipalities, everybody has their own ways of doing. So that's why we don't try to come in and do that. We want each body to operate with how it works and how it feels comfortable. We're just here to assist in the land and fund the land. But with that expenditure, we have to put easements on it. We have to protect it.
Well, I think that at this time, I think it'd be appropriate that for us to go ahead and move this to the agenda, and possibly be, because he's already stated that they pretty much they're at the time where hey, look, we've done everything we can do on our side. Not it's time for y'all to ante up and make a decision. I think that we have some owners here who've been patiently waiting in this, because this conversation, from my understanding, just from hearing about it before we got to it, it's been going on for some time now. Right, 3 months, and it seems like they're kind of ready to do something. So I think that at this point, I think it needs to go to the full board, and let the full board make a decision to possibly even more vote it up or down, even we interested in it or not, and to see where we can even come, because I mean, you give it to the superintendent is not wherewithal, because it's no telling, as my colleagues asked, what could come out of it. We could find something that that may not preach the borders, but the starting of the negotiation needs to go ahead and get started, so that they could bring it back to the board and we make a decision to say, hey, yes. So I think it's starting the negotiation process, or underlining exactly what the contracts will be, because speaking verbally is different from actually having it in writing as a contract, as Mr. Nate say, what can and cannot go on there. So there's, what if we may have an additional serious question. So I think it would be in our interest to, and everybody's interest, to go ahead and get this thing moving forward. So at this time, I make a motion that we recommend this to the full board.
Recommending the discussion to the full board. What are you recommending?
I make a motion that we recommend this
Discussion, the green space to the full board.
I recommend to the full board that we have this discussion of the green space to the full board, and in terms of with the intentions of either starting the negotiation of a contract to be brought back to the board to be finalized, or not. That's what.
Right. I mean, you kind of spoke like you didn't want it to authorize the superintendent, but what you could say is you're authorizing the superintendent to negotiate a contract and to bring it back to the board for approval. Is that?
That's exactly what I'm doing right there.
If it's all right with you, we can put this on board action at Tuesday's meeting.
It's fine with me. I mean, the board is the board. I mean,
Need a second.
yeah, that's all I'm waiting. I'm just waiting on a second.
Just add it to the agenda then, and
So then we don't need, we're just adding it to it, or we want to go ahead and vote?
You have a motion right on down the
Yeah.
floor that.
you have a motion here, and then if your motion.
Second from any.
I'll
from our
second
other-
it.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No. Motion passes.
We'll put it in board action then, and put it on the agenda. And if you could, if you would could you be available to?
Yeah,
come? I don't think
16, yeah,
16.
yeah.
Yes.
Tuesday.
Tuesday evening. Yep.
Week from today.
You can zoom in.
You can.
Okay,
Zoom,
that would
which
be very
fine.
helpful.
Yes, that would be
You
fine.
could zoom.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that, for the purposes of discussion, I know you probably will all want to get home to your families and have dinner after this, but just understand that what I've heard is that you all are going to discuss at that meeting whether or not you want to pursue purchasing and for working to put the property under contract, working with the green space program, allowing your all's land lawyer and our land lawyer to get together to kind of figure out how we best do this.
Yes.
Is that kind of what?
Is that all
If
right?
they,
Sorry.
they authorize the superintendent to negotiate, that's what.
That's
what-
okay. All
that's
right.
what happened.
Because I need to report back myself.
Yes.
So I just want to
And-
make sure I'm clear. Happen.
To Mr.
Well,
Davis's point, you just said to discuss purchasing it, but I just want to clarify, under no circumstances is the school board purchasing it, right? That's what's been made clear to me, is that this is all funded by the green space.
Well,
Yes, this would be
Funded, so from a land acquisition standpoint, this is legally how we take title to property. It would be a grant that we would fund it, but the school district would be the one
On the title.
who takes title.
Yeah.
Meaning you all would be the purchaser of the property, whereas we as the green space program view us, the best way I would view it is view us as like the lender on a normal, like if you're a loan, but there's no payback, there's no interest. We're funding the project. You all are the purchasers.
Right, so there will be no money coming out of the school board to buy this property.
If we do it correctly, I would hope not.
Okay, just clarifying.
Anything else on this topic? Dave Brown's going once, going twice. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Guys out.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And then the request to name Hilton Head High School lacrosse field.
Yeah, so I'll set this up and Mr. Goodrich is online. I'll hand off to him to add whatever else he wants to add to this. But in your packet, you have a letter from the Hilton Head High School Student Council, which has requested the naming of the local lacrosse field after Joe Monmonier. And I've also accompanied in here a copy of OS 28 that has the requirements. So basically it's met all the requirements with the letter of support, and I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Skidrich, if you'd like to add anything.
Yes, I would. Thank you, everybody, for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of Joe and the Seahawk community. But this is something that we thought would be a great way to honor our longtime athletic director, Joe Mominier. Hopefully, some of you had an opportunity to meet with him, got to know him, and he's been part of our school community for about 20 years. Last 13 as athletic director, and he came to us in the early 2000s as a lacrosse coach. And that was his first love. And those of you who know Joe, he was a great lacrosse player in high school and in college. He's in the Limestone College Hall of Fame as a goalie for lacrosse, Limestone's lacrosse team. And an opportunity, not an opportunity, but, he didn't seek out the position of athletic director. The principal at the time asked him to take over the position, and Joe reluctantly agreed because his first love again was lacrosse, and he took over and did a great job for the last 13 years. And just look at the record; it speaks for itself. Our school has never had any violations, and he's run a great program. He was an advocate for all the students here, and great steward of the taxpayers' money. He protected our assets, and he yelled at a lot of coaches, if they left the gate open or things like that. So just Joe was a big part of our school community here, and also just he well respected around the state. I had an opportunity to go to a couple of conferences with Joe, and I just was in awe of the people who held him in such high regard and sought out his advice. And he was a great mentor to a lot of people. So I think this is a great way to honor Joe by naming the lacrosse field after Joe Mominier. So thank you for considering.
Anybody else have any thoughts? Any comments?
Mr. Chair, may I please? I'll be very brief.
Yes, Mr. Ellis.
I attended the last SIC meeting, and excuse me, Mr. Mominier had a wonderfully beloved image within the Hilton Head High School community and the larger community. And some of the words that were spoken were very touching, very emotional, and he really left a positive imprint on so many different segments of society. So I think it's an honor that the SIC and the school community has come forward in support of naming the lacrosse field after him. Some humorous stories about his tenure as a lacrosse person in college and what have you. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Smith.
Actually, he answered the question I was going to ask that. Other than the Hilton representatives wanted to speak on that. I know Ms. Ingrid Boatwright and all those from that area. I'm sure they have had to deal with him. I mean, when I see he didn't really speak. He didn't speak to me, so I don't know. So I said, figured maybe someone else maybe want speak to that.
Would either one of the committee members care to read the recommended motion? We have a motion in the.
David said he'll.
David, go ahead.
Just making sure I can see it. I move that the Operations Committee recommend to the board that the Hilton Head Island High School lacrosse field be named after Joe Mominier in honor of his service to the Hilton Head Island High School's athletic program for 20 years.
Is there a second?
I want to stay.
I'll second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstain, motion carries. Move it to the full board.
Thank you.
Good seeing you again, Mr. Sandrich.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Next up, administrative regulations, the real nail biter stuff. Here we go.
I will be the one taking this on. So there's two in front of you. One is transportation services. Actually, we worked on this with Ms. Wendy Cartledge. Oh, she is there. Okay. Wendy, I don't know if you want to take this. You want me to take it? All right, I will continue on.
Go
And
right
if-
ahead. I'm right here, so thank you.
Well, I'll just say, and we also worked with the transportation staff and Miss Angela Middleton, who you may all know very well, helped us put this together, and we appreciate her efforts in doing that. One of the things I'll say, we actually touched a lot of this, and we're rewriting OS 41.1 and OS 41. OS 41 is going to be more for just for bus drivers. This is for non-bus drivers. There's some important changes that we have in here. The summary, the executive summary goes over a lot of those changes, but there's a few in particular that I'd like to point out. Specifically, one of the major changes is section 4, where we're requiring any employee that takes a vehicle home that they will have to abide by. We have the commuting guidelines that we placed in here, and that it'll be subject to IRS publication 5137 and 15B, which basically says that those that are allowed to take vehicles home, first they have to request it. They have to be available for emergency use or have some after school reason to take it home. And they will be charged a certain percentage that the finance department will assess them in order to take it home. They do have to be a employee of the school district in order to do that. So this is a major change in that maintenance and food service who are not employees will no longer be able to take their vehicles home in the evening. They will have to leave them at a designated school district lot. See what else are some of our major changes here. Other than that, it's kind of tightening up some of the regulations and making sure they're very visible, such as transporting students in vehicles, which does happen. It does allow that to occur, but it has to have the approval of the principal, and the principal has to review the vehicle before that can occur. This was left in there thinking of like 2 students that have to go to a certain event. They could be driven in a rented vehicle or something of that nature, say a small event where you don't want to have to take a bus or something of that size. It does allow an emergency situation, a student to be in a vehicle, but they do have to notify their principal immediately if that's to occur. So with that, I'll answer any other questions you may have, or Wendy, if you want to add anything else to my description of it.
Yes,
Please feel
sir. Good evening, board members. I just want to say that Ms. Tanya Crosby and Kaylee Yinger met with us and made sure that we were in compliance with the IRS requirements. So we had several meetings with our team, and so everything is included there. We needed to update this.
This page, what page is that up there?
Where the student transportation is page 7. But it's, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm missing something. BCSD employees are prohibited from transporting students in their private vehicles. However, here's the exception.
Yep.
So then why are we making that first statement?
Well, because in general, we do not want them transporting in private vehicles. The only time should be if there's an emergency. If you see down there in an emergency or extended situation as authorized by the principal. So we don't ever want, if they're somewhere and they can't, and they need to be taken immediately, we want people to be able to have the ability to rush somebody to the hospital if needed or something like that. Or the situation may come up that an example is they got home from a field trip at midnight. They're sitting there, they've been calling the parents, they haven't come to pick up their child, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, that teacher would then need to call the principal and let them know that they're gonna be taking the student home or have somebody ride with them in order to make sure that student's protected, but it gives them the ability to do that and that kind of, because those type situations do occur.
Would it be prudent to say employees are prohibited from transporting students in their private vehicles except for the following situations?
Well, that's why I say emergency or
Yeah.
extingent circumstances where they notify the principal and the principal has to approve that situation.
Just that, yeah, I mean, to me, the paragraph,
We kind of don't want to list because we don't know every situation where
Yeah.
it might occur. So it's kind
I agree with you, Mr. Day, because I witnessed a situation like that where it came back on the employee. So now I agree. And so my question would be, is this something that the board has to approve right here, or is this something, or this is an update? Because
the board does not
yeah,
approve.
because there's several things that he just read that concerns me, and my question would be too. I mean, well, let me finish. But I would just say, I'll wait to my turn, but I agree with you on that 100%.
Well,
I don't like the grammar.
so the board doesn't approve, but any suggestions you make, we will take and.
which is why I said, well, what might it be prudent to put that? No, I mean, I'm not telling you what to do. I get that. I'm just saying that to me, it's a contradictory paragraph when it said you are prohibited from, but you're allowed to in these circumstances. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
So we could say
all.
there, let's see, we could rewrite that to say BSD employees shall not transport students in their private vehicles except for exceptional circumstances or exigent circumstances. Does that sound better to you all?
That's still saying the same thing. I think maybe giving examples because then it becomes within the size of the folder. I can see that this roof is cracked right here, and you can say, well, no, it's just a couple of cuts going through the roof. So when it's spelled out finally, then you understand it finally, and then there's no wiggle room, because what happened if you can't reach a principal? I mean,
I mean, there is some value in keeping the verbiage kind of open-ended. Because that if it's exigent upon the permission of the principal, then that gives the principal some leeway, and it places the responsibility on the principal.
Yes.
Also, only in emergency or exigent circumstances is authorized by the principal. That's right, you're right. Or relevant department head.
Well, they're not allowed to do it.
So that's my problem.
So the first statement should be employees are prohibited from transporting students in their vehicles other than exigent, circumstances laid out by the principal. So
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Let's say that's authorized by the principal or relevant department head, like if you
Yeah,
couldn't get.
that sounds better.
You can call the superintendent, you can call, it depends, if it was over athletics, you would have to call, Coach K, somebody like that. Somebody else needs to know about it is the whole point. And that they need to approve it. You can't just randomly say, I decided to do this.
No, I agree, but like I said, if you can't reach the principal, then who? Because when I was there and they could not reach the principal. And so they had to do some other things. And so, that concerned me.
It is purposefully not convenient. Like it has to be off, someone else has to know about it. And at 1 o'clock in the morning,
yeah.
it may be hard to get somebody, to be honest with you, but,
Yeah, and I get that. And whoever answers the phone, if it's the department head, if it's the vice principal, it's the principal, it's the superintendent, that person that answers the phone and says it's okay is now responsible.
that's correct.
I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
Okay,
Mhm.
well, I mean, then I was just, as one of my colleagues likes to say, food for thought.
And then also well, you done?
Yeah.
And then also the part about no taking vehicles home or paying for it. Where did that come from? Because that's not that's not something we did in the past. So what happened? I mean, because when we start talking this about no vehicles taken home, then I know plenty of people who work in this office here who takes vehicles homes. So what's good for the goose got to be good for gander. So if one person ain't taking it, then no, then I don't expect to see anybody taking vehicles home. Unless,
So that section,
I don't know about that. I mean, superintendent, I understand where you come from. I'm sorry, are you finished?
no, I just want to see where he's gonna come up with, because that has to be clear cut, because these people are at this level, they make a little more different money than the people at those other positions who are taking those vehicles home. So they can afford to take their own car home. Yeah, so I mean, so we can't do things convenient. And that's been part of my attention. So I've been waiting on this piece.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's been part of my attention.
I mean, are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it written into some employees' contracts. You know, the superintendent should have his own vehicle. And if he's running all over Hell's Half Acre, going from school to school, and then all of a sudden it's, you know, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and he's still got his company vehicle and he's driving by his house, why would he come all the way back here to go? I mean, people like the superintendent, maybe even the department heads, I don't know. The chiefs, I don't know. That's probably for smarter people to figure out. But I mean, I do believe that once you're in a position where you travel a lot in the district, if your job is to travel for the district, then maybe a vehicle should be part of your contract. But if your job as maintenance technician or somebody like that is to travel around the district but not travel for the district, then maybe, okay, yeah, sorry, you got to bring your vehicle back, park it in the motor pool, and then take your vehicle home.
so if on page 1, section 3C is the commuting guidelines. Basically, the first section A says employees or contractors are not permitted to take BCSD vehicles home unless they comply with the IRS publication. That the commuting rule basically means you're going to get charged for taking your vehicle home, and that will come out of your paycheck. So the finance department will deduct a certain amount. It's not a whole lot. It's there's some standards that they have to base it on. I think it may be something like $1.50 each way, but whatever the amount is, the finance department will figure that, and then that will get deducted from your paycheck. And then on section B, employees authorized to commute with eligible vehicles must, and here's the requirements. You must be employed by Beaufort County School District. You must have written approval from your supervisor.
Should be.
Yeah, it's on page 2.
Yeah, section 3 CB.
Top of page 2. So you must be employed by BC. You must have written approval from your supervisor. You must sign a document agreeing not to use the vehicle for personal purpose. And then it has to be a placarded vehicle with a BCSD logo on it. So those are the requirements for taking a vehicle home.
So is this not a completed document yet?
No, it's complete. What is the question? What do you see missing?
The outline format is not correct, and it's not it's not consistent throughout the document.
The executive summary you're talking about? Or?
No, the outline format is not correct and it's not consistent throughout the document.
I got you. Okay, we can definitely change.
You have section 3, then you have A, and then the next step should be a number, not little a and little b.
I got you.
Yeah, and then when you go down to, where was it?
Then you got A, B going to number.
And then you get, and then section 11, instead of letters, you have it go straight to 1, 2, 3, 4.
Gotcha.
And it should be letters.
We will make that change. Have that change made. See what you're talking about. We'll go through it, make sure that's updated.
All right.
Questions on it, because one of the things is, I just want to make sure everybody aware, this is going into place basically October 1. One of our real big pushes is that we're changing over the maintenance contract, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So at that change, that's when the employees will no longer, maintenance employees will no longer be able to take vehicles on. So we want to make sure we get this in place, have this set up, so everybody's aware of what the rules are.
And so my question would be, have we had problems with maintenance taking the vehicles home in the past?
Every now and then there's been issues that come up, yes. This whole change came from the finance department, and that they did not feel that we need to make some changes in order to be in compliance with some IRS rules. So they have been pushing this for some time. It's fair to say, right? And we were looking for an opportunity to make that change and felt that because the most vehicles we have are used by maintenance. Food service has some, there are some other district staff, but the largest user outside of transportation and buses is maintenance. And so at the maintenance contract, we thought that was a good time to make this change to make these requirements.
I agree with this.
Well, let me say that I just want to say what's good for the goose gotta be good for the gander. There was something that you read in there about all district vehicles should be identified.
Yes.
So that means from,
If you're gonna take it home, it has to be.
right. So that means from so that means at this point, we should have no, as they say, we should have no unmarked vehicles in the district at this point. According to this right here. So that means from the trucks that they use to pull the trailers, every single district car in this district should be marked Beaufort County School District on it. There should be a sticker we should have, they should have numbers so it can be identified.
That is correct. That is pretty much the way it is right now. The only exception, I think, is Dave Grissom's car. Like officers' cars are not owned by the district. The superintendent's car is not owned by the district.
Because he gets something, he does it.
Those are not owned by the
Right.
district.
Oh, no,
I'm talking about only BCSD owned vehicles.
Right, yeah, I'm aware that that's what I'm asking, because what's good for one has to be good for all. And then that's the first thing. The second thing is too, we talk about getting employees. We're talking about in terms of having a negotiating tool. These employees who do take the cars home from us, and they were supervisors.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking about being in competing with other government agencies where these employees can have the same option and go someplace else and not have to come up here and get the car, or have to, can go to the website or be on call. Because now these employees may say, look, I'm on call. I don't want, because all the restrictions, hey, just because it's good for you, I'm not gonna take the vehicle home. So I'm gonna have to come all the way down here first, get the vehicle, and then go out to where the call is.
So if I can, on maintenance, if you are on call, that is the one reason you can take a vehicle home if you're a maintenance employee, is when you're on call.
But if we're saying that they can't take it home, then they should take it home for
You have to have the on-call phone. If you have the on-call phone, you are allowed to take a vehicle home.
Is it in the policy somewhere?
Yes, it is.
Anybody else online have any comments, questions, concerns?
Not me at the moment. Thank you.
None here, Mr. Chair.
I'm good, thanks.
All right, we still have a very long meeting ahead of us. Is there anything else on this particular?
Oh, actually, he was showing me where that was.
I was actually looking for it, but we will actually end up bringing this back because we're going to make those corrections and just make sure you're aware of those corrections to it. But we are going to put this into effect now so that we can take advantage of that. In the interest of time, Ms. Smith, I will find it and let you know.
Right, and I just want to extend to my colleagues that do be mindful that when we do change these rules, people make decisions too as well. So I mean, So I mean, because we are not the only entity out there who can hire maintenance guys and who are looking for maintenance guys. So I just want to put that out there. Be mindful of that.
It's a very good point, and we've notified maintenance of this over a month ago. I think that this was be going into effect so that they're aware. Sodexo, who's taking on the contract, is aware that our employees are losing that benefit. So that means that, of course, they need to consider that when they're doing their salaries. So. All right, we'll move on to the next one. All right. The next item is the AED AR. So this is a brand new AR. we've worked with the nurses, with Ms. Cartledge, with Coach Cave and the coaches in a way to set this up. And my staff, one of our big things that we were trying to do here was ensure that we had rules in place for when you could purchase, how they're placed. Because my biggest fear is that people purchasing at a school level or something of that nature, maintenance not knowing about it, so that we weren't able to ensure that the inspections and everything and they were kept up. Because one of my biggest fears was that, you know, there's a fear of not having one close, but there's also a fear of having one close that's not been kept up and it not working. So, and we've set up and mapped our buildings where all they're going to go so that we meet all the what we feel like is the best way to meet the space requirements and the recommendation on how far away from any location and building they need to be. So that is the gist of this whole thing. Wendy, is there anything else you want to add?
Well, Robert,
to
I just
that?
I want to thank you and your staff because you developed a program to make sure that these AEDs are checked, just like we do with our fire extinguishers, and that they're going to be maintained properly so that we're able to help somebody who may suffer a cardiac arrest on our property. And we're going to be training our staff in accordance, you know, with American Heart Guidelines, and the nurses have been real instrumental in doing that. And also Jerry Henderson and her safety and security, she also arranges for CPR and AED training. So we appreciate that a lot.
So the only thing I was questioned a little bit was, I saw something in there like if you're going to remove an AED to take it somewhere around a training field or something like that, that you have to put it back. So for all the sports that go distant from buildings, is there not a way to maybe provide AEDs in, like, you know, the side by sides or something like that, that all the coaches ride around campus? Or
So every athletic, at the high school athletic department, they're going to have, depending on their size, 2 or 3. So they should have enough for traveling and to carry around with them. But what we do know happens and could happen in the future, especially in spring sports, they may have 4 or 5 events going on.
Right.
So that's where we allowed them to use ones in the building. But as when we've added in here, they're not allowed them to leave the area, and that they have to be returned as soon as they're finished using.
yeah, that's a little shaky to me, because I mean, heaven forbid, you know, an AED is out on the tennis court when it's needed inside or something.
And all the
Carr?
athletic trainers have portable AEDs too.
Yes, they would.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy, because that was part of my question. Having been in athletics for the better part of 55 years, with multiple events spread all over the place on different fields, indoor, outdoor, plus travel, a few athletic trainers, not enough probably. How can we be assured that if somebody needs access to an AED, that AED is within a couple of minutes at the most from the incident? Because they only have 6 minutes.
That's right. It has to be really fast.
Yeah,
And-
so portable ones, if the athletic trainers have a cart or a gator or whatever they get around in, that has to be part of the process. Every team should probably be taking one on the road, but we can get into that conversation. We have too many incidents with kids just dropping over because of heat, other weather conditions, other adverse situations. I get these reports basically every week of somebody succumbing to an event, a cardiac event, and there was no AED anywhere near. So just food for thought.
And that's why they have those portable AEDs. And Robert, do you have anything else to add about what we're doing when we have those athletic events? We have to make sure that our team takes their own AED with them, even though the other schools should have them on site. We were going to have our own, correct?
Well, that is correct. And as far as the number of 8 portables that we're having, there's enough portables there's actually probably more than there are trainers, but the number of each trainer should be able to have their own portable AED wherever they are.
Mhm.
Thanks, Robert. All coaches and assistant coaches need to be trained. Absolutely.
Oh, yes, yes, they are. And I just wanted to mention something for the interest of the board. There is we don't have it in our AED AR, but it's part of instructional services. But there's a law, it's the Ronald Rouse law. And Ronald Rouse died because he didn't have the AED that he needed. He had an enlarged heart. But every child between the grades of 9 and 12 is to be instructed in how to use an AED. That's in instructional services. And I think it's a wonderful law to have, that our children know how to use an AED, do CPR, how to help. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mr. Dallas?
Yes, sir. I do have one question. The program sounds pretty solid in terms of foresight, trying to make sure the static situation stations are staffed, but also the mobile movement between various locations. Is there any element included for sort of like random, just surveying, just to sort of imprint in the organization's mind that a survey could be taken at any time? Or you may say a confirmation that the AEDs are where they are supposed to be. Is that a part of it?
Yes, sir. The AEDs are entered into our preventative maintenance program. So the maintenance department will check on, and I don't remember the time period. You remember? Let's see what's in. I almost think it was monthly. Yeah. So they will be inspected monthly by the maintenance department. Now they should be inspected, on a daily basis by the school itself. But the maintenance department will inspect them to make sure all the equipment is with them, that they're in the right location, the batteries are charged and all that. So that is in their regular PM program.
What about when there are multiple sports events taking place at the same time? How would we sort of certify that those are available at the place where they're needed?
So that's where each high school will be given portable AEDs. And we do say that the portable AEDs have to have a home, whether it's the AED's office or, wherever the location is the school chooses to be the home for those AEDs. And they will need to be checked out so that they know who's got them and that they're returning them at the end of their use.
Okay, so last question. I'm not trying to belabor the point. How will we sort of verify that doing multiple sports events, the AEDs are where they're supposed to be?
And that would be the responsibility of the AD to make sure that he's got coverage where he needs to have coverage.
You may want to consider including some type of verbiage that speaks to verification process. Just for consideration. Thank you.
We do have a provision in there, Robert, if you could show everybody about the incident, the report that we complete when something happens.
Right.
That's important.
Yes, that actually was not included in this package. We did not include that form. That's a form that has to be filled out anytime it's used. To
But
ensure that
it's
it's,
referenced in there, right?
yes, it is referenced.
My question is, was the athletic director involved in this conversation? Because I think I heard you said the guidance counselor and excuse me, the nurse and someone else and then the legal was the this district AD involved in this?
Yes, sir. Coach Cave was involved.
Okay.
Was part of the development of this.
And my reason for asking that, because I know a lot of those questions are around the AD as Mr. Outing stated a few minutes ago about the AD will be having them. And so I do know from time to time, like a couple schools I've been to, I have seen the ADs have had those on their gator. So I am a little comfortable with knowing that some people are adhering to the rules. So that's was for purpose of me asking that, because this is a very serious conversation. I appreciate all the comments, all the questions that my colleagues have asked. I don't have anything else to be. I ask everything I will ask.
Any safe grounds? Going once? Going twice? All right, on to the next topic then. Construction update.
Vargas, please join us.
Go out here.
Oh, this chair's stuck in it. All right, well, good evening, and thank you for allowing me to issue the construction update for September 2025. These are the updates through August 31st this year. On the 2019 bond referendum, I can report that we are currently now sitting at 11 project closeouts remaining, and we continue to work with CMs to reconcile. And like I said, we are making some progress.
11. Oh my gosh.
Yes, last time it was 13. I know, it's like the last few, but we are emphasizing and we are working through some hurdles with them. And if things don't turn out the way that we are directing CMs, we are emphasizing that there will be repercussions. So we are working to get this closed out. Financial report for the 2019, the current budget, it says the 375 million. Out of those, the paid and committed funds total 374.89 million. The remaining available funds, which include the contingency, are totaling $826,000 as of the end of last month. Contingency activity in August included the savings of $481,000. That's part of some of those closeouts, and the use of $273,000. So again, balancing act, but we are getting to that bit of using the full referendum funding. Contingency remaining at the end of the month was $314,000. Moving along to the contingency commitments. Out of the 30-month commitments that we had on the log initially, we have completed 16. So the remaining portions we continue to track. In Q4 is when we anticipate the full closeout, but come the next month, I believe there will be more that will be added to that list. So with that, I will pause and ask if there's any questions regarding the 2019 referendum.
Anybody online? 3, 2, 1, and go.
All right, moving along to the 2023 bond referendum. All projects are reporting with a green traffic light for budget and schedule. May River Elementary School, the tree removal and stumping is scheduled for completion this month. They have begun doing the watering and grading on the site, and we anticipate the next month we'd be ready for a groundbreaking ceremony. We still haven't had the date. I know it's still being coordinated amongst board members and the staff, so
Close.
Yeah.
Mid-October, probably a Monday at 4 o'clock. Probably, I think it's October 13th.
all right.
Just hadn't been finalized yet. About to be.
All right, and another update regarding Mid River Elementary, we said to see the project contingency log for details. We have utilized $507,000 from the contingency to fund the fees for the encroachment for New Riverside. May River High School CTE and JROTC, the roughing continues to progress. Masonry is almost complete out there. We are anticipating that the building will be energized this month, so we will be right now, the schedule for the new facility, we are looking at a end of the year for its completion. That will be turned over, and then the contractor will move into the interior renovations of the facility. A new early learning center, the schematic designs, they are due in October. There's still some reports regarding the geotech and as well as some wetland delineation negotiations with the town of Bluffton. So once that concludes, the full SDs will be turned over and we will begin some of the pricing exercises with CMs. Hilton Head Island High School, we have the phase 1 construction, which is progressing on schedule. The GMPs for the remaining phases, we have received those and we are beginning our review of their GMP so that we can issue comments and work through the negotiation process with the contractor. Beaufort High School CTE, we are currently in DDs and we are progressing on schedule on that project.
the new Lady Silent Middle School project. We are currently on construction documents. However, we have a presentation of the school. Oh, actually, I apologize. We had a presentation with the school staff last month, which went well. We received some comments that were noted. And there will be a meeting with the SIC for which we have, hopefully, I don't know if you reach out to some community members, but just to start advertising that this meeting will be open to the public as well. And this will be in October 14th at 6 p.m. at Lady Silent Middle School. There's still no room selected, but once that happens, we will let everybody know where that will take place.
So what day is that?
October 14th. Again, I think we discussed the last meeting. We said that kind of falls at the same time as this. Committee meeting.
Yeah, so I was about to check.
Yeah, and actually they did have an SIC meeting tonight. I was rather.
Their SIC
Yeah, they
falls
set it up.
every second Tuesday. of the
Yeah, the same as us.
But y'all said last night, the last meeting that they would not, they were gonna cancel it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but they did not cancel it.
Yeah, so over the technology warehouse, as y'all have seen, the pad is being worked, the formwork is going, and we will be complete with that pad this month. So pre-engineered metal structures here on site, so that will start coming up soon. Moving along to the financial updates for the end of August, the current budget is $439 million. We have paid and committed of 186.35 million. Remaining available, including the contingency, is 252.68 million. The program contingent, sorry, I'm skipping a little line here, just saying the contingency use that we have for the month, it was $107,000, and the remaining program contingency as of the end of August is $11.24 million. The current remaining project level contingencies are sitting at 13.65 million. Before I wrap up the 2023 referendum portion, I do want to note that tomorrow there will be a clock meeting at Ocotillo Elementary School at 6 p.m. So those interested, feel free to join us there. Any questions regarding the 23 referendum updates?
Actually, Mr. Dowd has his hand up.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This might not be covered under the 2023 referendum. However, Bus Drive as a road has a lot of potholes, and I'm beginning to hear people actually approach me, which normally I don't have. So I've driven it a couple times myself. And is that included in any of the referendum projects? Do we own the road?
No, I will say it is not. We actually had road paving that was presented to the Community Project Review Committee. And at Bus Drive was part of that. And that was part of the total package that they approved, that they recommended, but it was not part of what finally made it into the referendum. So at this point, we are filling potholes on a regular basis, but we do not have funding to repave Bus Drive. I don't even remember what the number was for paving. We had all the paving in the district. That was part of that. And only a few of the projects made it. Of course, were the ones that did made it were St. Helena Elementary School, Battery Creek High School, and J.J. Davis.
Okay, well, I'm not, asking to jump line or anything like that, but once the new school is completed, to have that sort of Taj Mahal and Bus Drive as an element of that is sort of like a juxtaposition that's kind of hard to explain to people. So for whatever that's worth. Thank you, sir.
We will definitely, we can add it to the 8% project list that can come to the operations committee next year. In April timeframe.
Not a problem, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along to other project updates.
My question, is that a state road or is that a private road?
That's owned by us. It's our road, private road owned by us.
And we could reach out to our state legislators to probably get some help on that.
Private.
I don't see why, but it's still a public school. It's public property, so I don't see why we possibly can't. Because I know that sometimes when you have, for instance, like if your family have a rough road or somewhere where EMS or something may have a problem coming down, then the county or the state, sometimes they will help you fix those things due to emergency. So we're not really slash emergency, but basically it has to be conductive enough. It has to not conduct. It have to be moving enough for the EMS and everything else to get back there. So with those potholes and it being it was a spotty pothole road, then I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't hurt us to possibly reach out to our state representatives to see that's something they could possibly help us on, because they help regular people on those things when they have them. It's like a one time. It's not, they don't do it every time, but they do it maybe once every 6 or 7 or 10 years. So they will do those things for you. So I mean, as a district, I mean, the greasy wheels get squeezed, however you want to put it. So that's just food for thought.
We would love fund, if the state would like to offer funding, we will. Please go ahead.
I'm not sure who would reach out from this committee, or would it, I'm sure someone from the district probably would need to do that. And maybe we as or Mrs. Dallas from this area, maybe he could reach out to his representatives too, and see if that's something that they would be interested in helping us with.
I can reach out to our local DOT office and see if there is anything that they do for funding schools. If your legislative committee wants to take that on, that's great too.
Mr. Dallas, did you hear that?
But I will contact the DOT.
Mr. Dallas. I will relay that to him tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, moving right along to the other project updates. I would like to report on H. McCracken Middle School. The HVAC installations are progressing as of current, and we are on schedule for completion this month. Those installations, as y'all may be aware, are happening after hours, obviously, so as to not disrupt any of the operations for the facility. Bluffton High School, the HVAC installation at that facility is complete. Now, the only thing that remained there was a test and balance, so anticipate that will be complete this month as well. At this facility, lots going on. The biggest update here is that as of current, the front entrance rough-in is ongoing, finishes are ongoing, and as of now, I don't have the specific date, but there is a final inspection that's being coordinated to occur this month. So as you can see, HVAC installed and the students.
It was like the 28th. It's at the end of.
That's why I remember Mark was trying to finalize that with OSF. So that's coming up shortly. And yeah, the fire alarm system, they're continuing to progress. Obviously, a lot of areas to tackle, but there's a lot of progress on this facility. On St. Helena Elementary School, the HVAC update, we have the equipment on site. However, we are waiting on the long break for October so that we can do the installations of HVAC systems in case that there's any tweaks that we gotta handle. They'll give us a little bit of time to make sure that we address that as to not affect the school operations. So that's where we currently have the 8% project updates. Any questions regarding those? Moving right along to community outreach, as I spoke briefly, May River Elementary groundbreaking being coordinated for October. Once that date and time frame is set, we'll by all. The design development presentation over at Ladies Island Middle School, that is gonna occur on October 14th at 6 p.m. at Ladies Island Middle School. Over to requests for proposals and requests for qualifications. Currently, we have 2 solicitations on the street, one for professional design services and the other one for the construction management and risk services. These are the what we consider the summer project, but they include other projects miscellaneous. These are due tomorrow at 4 p.m. So once that takes place, selection committee, it usually takes about a month to make the selection, and then we're working on contract negotiations, finalizing contracts, and then bringing the contractors on board. So with that, I open it up to questions regarding construction updates.
On construction updates, I don't see much cameras. So all that cameras and all that buildings are working that we can install.
Yeah.
How about those parking lots? Those new cameras.
We're in the process.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've only got 4 schools
We have 4
completed,
pilots.
and we got 4, I think about 4 that we're working on right now.
Mhm.
So those are in the works.
So Hilton Head Island Middle School is the only one that has been fully completed. There were some modifications that were or not modifications, but programming. We're waiting on some servers to come online. I believe that we are wrapping up Shanklin this week. The other facility, Beaufort High School, is gonna be this month. And then we have Robert Smalls. That one has been fully programmed. So that facility is on. And a lot of those cameras, again, is a lot of coordination with IT. They go and figure out what minor tweaks are to happen. If there's any issues with cameras going offline, typically IT does a refresh every morning to make sure that the cameras get turned back online. So that's something that is just a constant thing that happens. Some cameras go offline, IT gets work ticket, they'll fix it. It's usually done remotely.
And speaking of IT, also, in an update of, referendum, I mean. I'm trying to think of the 8% project. The IT stuff that we did over at Well Branch, was that 8% or was that?
They're all referendums. IT, it was referendum funds.
Okay, because, so I would ask that question now. I've had a couple of teachers who have told me that the jacks are not working. And that's the contractor's problem, error.
Well, I think they need to report that to IT. In some instances, they may be purposely not be working because they weren't being used in order to save switchboard bases.
Yeah, I don't think I don't believe that's what it is. I believe that some of the jacks were programmed wrong.
Well, they just need to put in an IT work.
That's correct.
And I checked, but I think I will check with that, but I think that one word was put in, and I will tell you, I'm not gonna tell the names because they were afraid, but I will check and see if tickets were put in.
We would need we would need the room number, or IT would need the room number to go check it.
Well, if the tickets are put in, then you will have it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
then-
yeah.
Well, IT would have it. Recognize we aren't IT, so
Well,
that would be a technology discussion. So,
right, but
because all that now would be the responsibility of IT, because it's no longer a construction project. Any issues at this point would be an IT issue.
Yeah.
Not a construction issue.
so let me ask you. So when we're paying for large things like that to get fixed, who's doing this? Who's checking it? I mean, because to me that brings concern, because to me we just can't be paying for things.
I mean, we're getting off topic here. Once they're bought and installed, it's no longer operations.
Well,
And
a year after.
No, that's not true yet.
Are we past the year mark then?
Yeah, on that project, we would be.
No, so like at that point, it's IT. So I mean, it doesn't do any good for us to talk about here. We're just wasting, we still have a lot to talk about.
I don't think that we're wasting time, because it's almost like having an after action review, because here's what the problem is. Do you continuously waste money? So therefore, if it happened if it happened a year or 2 years ago, then what needs to happen is that, okay, if we have a project like that coming this year, then we need to make sure that we're not having the same identical problem. So if we faced it last year, then we know that we faced it last year. So therefore, this year we're going to make sure that we don't face it. And it's called basically an after action review. So I mean, I'm just that's my question. Are we having after action reviews, and then how are we making sure that we're not wasting taxpayers' money on that? So no, that's it's not wasting time.
So if I can, I'll just let you know kind of what the steps are in place to catch something like that.
Thank you.
So before you have what's substantial completion, when we take ownership, usually before that, there is a punch list walk, So, well, not usually, there has to be a punch list walk where the engineers, the project managers, everybody walks the job and makes a list of everything they can find wrong with it and the jacks have to be tested. Like, we have to test every jack for the conductivity between that jack spot and the switch. So they are measured, and there's a reading that comes out of that tells the conductivity for that. If it does not meet the standard, then that has to be ripped out and redone. So that's the punch list. So after the punch list, then We have a warranty for a year on a new school. So what's typically done on a new school, the teachers and everybody know that it's a construction issue. So there's usually a Google Doc or something out there, and any problems that come up, they're able to put that in so that construction then deals with it and corrects that problem. If a teacher finds a jack's not working, they should put room 204, jack not working, and then the contractor is responsible for repairing that. Then the last thing is, so since there is a 1-year warranty, we have an 11-month walkthrough with the contractor. So at month 11, we do the same thing we did at the SD part, walk the job. We'll look if there's any items on that Google Doc or whatever form they're using, keep track of all the end user concerns. We'll do that, look at that along with the walkthrough of the entire project again. Make a list again and denote anything that we catch prior to that 12-month part, the contractor is responsible for. Even if it takes them 15, 16, 17, 18 months, if we noted it prior to 12 months. Now, once you get to that 1-year part, that 12-month part, if it has not been pre-noted, it is no longer a construction issue. It is now going to be if it's an IT, that would be an IT issue so we have several checks along. Now, I'm not saying things don't get through. There may be things that get through, but it's pretty hard to be we at least 3 times we look at the entire project. We have a way for end users to put where their issues are for up to a year. So yeah, that's our process. You're welcome.
Sweet. On to the next.
Ms. Majors, you're up.
Thank you.
I'll let you go first. Thank you. All right, well, good evening. I'm gonna move through this pretty quickly. There's some key points that I'd like to focus on. So in front of you tonight, you have the maintenance and custodial update for August. Start with the first page. This is our spotlight inspection. We completed VCSD inspections of 55. Those are completed by our operations team, as well as administrators at school locations. And vendors completed 601. Our district total averages, there's a little over around an 8% gap there, with district total averages being 83.2 and the vendors averages at 92.5. As you move down the page, you'll see that we have our highest averages for each one of our vendors there for you for review. Going to our staffing percentages. So 2 out of the 3 vendors for the month of August were able to achieve 100% staffing all the way down through. Overall, all 3 vendors did achieve the 90% greater than staffing percentage that we look for them to be successful. Our deficiencies, moving down the page, you'll see we have 3 vendors. One of which did very well, one not so bad, and the third we're having a lot of deficiency reports with that specific vendor. Please note with these deficiencies, we report these, and these are part of our contract penalty structure. So there are penalties in place when we report deficiencies. So that basically means that that vendor that has that high volume will get a notification report of violation for deficiencies. And there will be monetary fees associated with that they will be required, will back out of their monthly billing. So moving on to recognizing success. So, we had all 3 vendors acknowledge and recognize multiple custodians throughout the district, which were represented at Beaufort Middle School. We've got Shanklin, Joseph Shanklin there, Beaufort High School, H.E. McCracken, and Hilton Head Island Early Childhood Center. So you can see their pictures are displayed there. We're going to move through. So we are currently, the operations department is currently reviewing vendor performance levels. We're doing this in the month of September to prepare and see if there are any schools that will qualify for reassignment. So some of the things that the tools that we're using to evaluate non-performance schools would be principal custodial survey evaluations. Those are out to principals and have been completed. We also are looking at the 2025 teacher climate survey results. We have gotten those back from the state. We have not gotten the student data calculations back. And then we're going to look at other related correspondence. That's averages for inspection scores that have been completed to date, as well as any communications that have been relayed from principal and school administration to start having those high-level conversations about what schools could potentially need to be reassigned or underperformance. And then those decisions will be made prior to we're pushing to get those decisions made prior to the contract extension date of October 1st. So any questions about custodial before I move through to maintenance?
Yes, not.
No, okay, so moving through to maintenance. So the information you have for you are the maintenance work orders to date through August the 31st, 2025. We are tracking at 6,425 work orders requested to date. You'll see in the month of August, as you move toward that center graphic, that there was 2,748 work orders completed, which is far higher than our previous 2 years this time in August. One of the things I focus on a lot is how proactive we're being from a maintenance staff. And you can see I'd like us to get above 40% for maintenance initiated. As you move down the page, that corner graphic is showing that we're at 27.83 for maintenance initiated. And we'll talk a little bit more later in the report about what could be causing us to have that dip. So moving to maintenance work orders by craft, we had 2 top categories, HVAC and general maintenance work orders this month. H.E. McCracken had the highest HVAC work order total at 37. As we evaluated these work orders, we found that there were work orders that required part replacements to include compressors and TXV valves. There were also additional work orders placed for adjusting temperature set points, emptying portable units that had been deployed, as well as evaluating non-operational thermostat displays. Beaufort Elementary School had the highest general maintenance work orders. I would say August is pretty typical for elementary schools to have a very large volume of work orders because they are doing everything you would expect. They are hanging cubbies, they are installing hooks, they're doing all those little detailed work in classrooms that need to be done for the school to be successful for the start of students to return. We're going to move to work orders assigned. North of the Broad total work orders, they were able to push their percentage back up from last month and hit their 50% requested and completed within the month. They did track for their average days, did increase to 5.58. And again, we'll talk a little bit here in another moment about why that could be. South of the Broad, total work orders at 50%, and their tracking average dates of completion is 4.04. So a little uptick on their average completion as well. Our maintenance spotlight on the next page, we will not start that until September. Maintenance focuses in August on getting our schools ready and supporting them with the start of school. So you'll have a blitz section in September's report. You can see here scrolling down the page, we've got some featured projects of some things that maintenance did over the month of August to prepare for school starts. We've got Hilton Head High School. That was a very large part of what maintenance does during the month of August and even July, and even currently is clearing out these areas around the exteriors of schools that start to get filled up with trash. We've got interior moves that they do. We've got lighting work that goes on. They supported an all schools textbook recycling, as well as there's been significant progress at Well Branch Early College High School and Well Branch Middle School as far as grounds clearing. Moving to the bottom of the page, the update is, I want to give you an update for the transition to the new vendor, Sodexo. So just know things are going really well. They are here pretty much almost weekly. They have completed their interviews with current maintenance staff employees, as well as they have also supported them through the application process. So they will be here again this week on Thursday and Friday to meet with maintenance employees. We've talked with them. I still have weekly meetings with them. They have selected a new maintenance director. Robert and I had the pleasure of meeting that individual. So progress is the conversation is great. We've had a lot of back and forth with the vendor, and we've been given opportunities to really talk through what the new format and structure of the contract and staffing needs to look like. The new facilities maintenance service provider contract is scheduled to start October 1st, and we are on schedule for a successful start with that. So moving to why some of our percentages may be off and we're not tracking as successfully as we would like is the section here. So staffing right now for the maintenance department is down to 78.1%. We are down 14 positions. Out of 54 field technicians to have 14 vacancies is quite significant. So there is an expectation that that occurs when you transition a contract. We've had conversations with our current vendor as to why this is occurring. And a lot of those conversations have been employees have left because the uncertainty of the transition. And we've also had conversations with our current provider of their inability to recruit and hire to fill these positions. We still struggle with that. So Sodexo is aware of these positions. They are aware of the amount of vacancies that they will to fill to be successful. This contract, this new structure is, they are required to be 100% staffed at all times. They are not 100% staffed at all times. There are two penalties. There's one penalty for salary for management, and then there's a separate penalty for hourly. So just know that this state that we're in, we will not continue to be in for the long haul in this maintenance contract.
We may have to give Sodexo a little bit of a runway because the numbers that greater than any of us expect from this.
Yes.
Has Sodexo been given the names and or phone numbers of these people that have left so they can try to re-recruit them?
There's from my understanding, Sodexo have gotten rid of, that's not the way to talk. From my understanding, Sodexo has been the one, so I will not agree with what Robert just said. I would not agree with what Mr. Otter just said because Sodexo came here and they're saying that from my understanding, they've been telling some of the old guys is why they've been leaving. Is because, hey, we're gonna bring some other guys and to my understanding, some of y'all we don't want. So when you come out, you pull the big dog and you say, I'm King Kong. Well, when King Kong better have to be able to fulfill these contracts. Because if they can't, then that's gonna be on them.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why I made the statement about the trucks and the not being able to take vehicles home and all that because people they've been reaching out to me now. So I've been hearing things in the wind, and so they've been letting people know, hey, we're not going to use y'all going forward. So hey, we might keep you, might not keep you. We ain't going to keep you. So that's the reason why why we're losing people from what I've gathered from what my constituents have told me. So with that being said, I'm going to expect for them to deliver from day one. Like anybody else, especially when you come in and you're saying what your expectations are, what you're gonna deal with, what you ain't gonna deal with. Contract's contract. Grace is grace, mercy is mercy.
Well, I would say though that the reductions that we're seeing in ABM are, there may be, we have set expectations, but a lot of these losses are not directly Sodexo based. There will be some that will be, but where we are right now are not people that Sodexo is not or has not invited. This is prior to Sodexo even starting to interview people. So so these losses, there will be some of what you're speaking of. I mean, that I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just saying that the number 14 that we're at right now, but in a transition, people don't like transitions. They never do. There are people that will leave to find something else. What you're speaking of will occur and is in the process of occurring right now.
And just to add to that, I would couple with both of what you're saying, just in a sense that this contract is very heavy on audit schedules and ensuring that the vendor is doing everything we're asking them to do. So the penalties are very strict, it's very robust. And so we've not had a maintenance contract like this before where we've pretty much nailed the vendor down to the wall saying you have to hit A through Z. And if you don't, money, 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 money. So with just that much pressure and that much focus on wanting them to hit very strict standards and measurements, I do think we're going to have just the natural of guys are not, they're not going to be used to this pressure. They're not going to be used to, hey, you've got to hit this mark and you've got to do this. And we're going to naturally, based on those big expectations now, we're going to naturally start to lose some staff, even ones that carry over to Sodexo, right? Just because they've not been held to that high of a standard before. And that's what we're really pushing this contract to do.
And I just say, you know, I appreciate your hard work, and I understand that, but at the end of the day, if I can't call SCG and say, look here, hey, my lights been cut off, could you cut it back on? Now SCG say, look here, if it's $4,200, you can send me out $4,200, and I cut it back on. So I mean, at this point in time, I'm in the results section. I'm looking for results. So I appreciate my hell. I appreciate your hard work, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I do have a question in terms of Battery Creek, because out of their last game, Battery Creek High School area, is this a current picture? Because
Well,
I mean, I meant Well Branch. I thought of Well Branch. Well Branch Stadium and right around that roadway, it looked horrible. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that was after their last.
that was
game.
after, but are you
Yeah.
coming from the Tree Grove side over by the stadium, that side of the road?
that whole front looked like it didn't even look like a school that even coming. I was at the elementary school, and coming from the elementary school up to the middle school, that whole area looked like it was like it was a forest. It looks disgusting. I mean, we have definitely got to put some love out there, because there's clearly no love going out there.
No, and what you're speaking of is about the time of the football game, and the love that we've added has come since that time. So they've done a lot of work. We spent a lot of work. out
Because Mr. Campbell chewed my behind. He chewed me out about it. He sure did.
Yes.
He caught me.
there. You heard that loud and clear.
Okay.
We did. And so they have done work over the last 2 weeks, both at Well Branch Early College, Well Branch Middle School, the Pecan Field at Well Branch Middle School. We had vendors in the back, on that backside athletic side at Well Branch Early College, and we have vendors currently working on the front side in those native areas as well.
They hadn't started that yet. It was still a little wet out.
Yes, well, they've tried and they got stuck. That's one of the biggest challenges, is that with that Well Branch Early College High School, is that heavy equipment. Things have to be very dry, because otherwise we get bogged down, we get stuck. But there is a plan and conversations just now in place. We're looking at service levels. We're looking at areas that current vendors have that are overreaching, to come up with a better schedule, because obviously the frequency at which those campus, that particular cluster, is getting attention is not high enough. So we recognize that. Thank you.
And it looks like they haven't had any attention for about a couple of years. That ain't just no 6 or 5 months wrong. That's years of growth. It was unbelievable.
It just, if I can, before graduation, we always have it ready. So it was, the last time it was done was graduation.
On the elementary side to the road.
No, I'm sorry.
That's years of growth.
Yeah, there is, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the high school.
Stewart Point,
High school.
that run.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Stuart, no, that's years of growth.
Yeah.
I cut grass.
That concludes the maintenance and custodial report. So any questions?
Any questions, comments, concerns for maintenance custodial? Anybody online? Going once,
None here.
No, thank you.
going twice, sold. On the next.
All right,
You,
the
Mr.
next
Majors.
two are mine. I appreciate you wanting to move it along, so I'm gonna move the next one on rather quickly. This is Willow Run. The main reason to bring this to your attention is just to denote the last times we have talked about this. It's been talked recently about the land swap with the town of Bluffton, and the school board at the May 20th executive session, and then July 8th. And then we were on hold while we had some issues with the property purchase. Just as to let you know, and we're going to talk about this in more detail in executive session at the upcoming board meeting, but those are now moving forward. And wanted you just to make sure you're aware that the town of Bluffton will be talking about the land swap agreement tonight in their meeting, now that it's moving forward again. We will talk about it in executive session at the upcoming, but I want to take this opportunity just to make sure at least the board, the members of the operations committee knew that the town of Bluffton will be talking about this tonight.
Okay, I mean, the last time we spoke about it was in executive session, so I don't know how much I can talk about it now. But like, if I remember, there was like an issue with an easement running through the property.
Correct. And that is currently being resolved.
Oh, excellent.
So that's kind of, and that's a recent, and we'll give you more details about that in executive session, but that's in the process of being worked out.
Perfect, excellent. All right, moving on.
Yeah, sure.
Unless you guys want to. Right along, take it in.
All right.
And see free.
Anybody?
Okay.
I'm focused right now.
Oh, it's laser. I like it. I don't know why you're not done yet, actually.
Move it along. All right, HVAC systems. All right. So what I have done here in this report is we talked about this last time at the November meeting. And we talked about a lot of items that we were going to work toward. So and then also there was some, Colonel Geyer just left, but he asked for some information about PM. So we're going to talk about that. Mr. Smith, I know you asked for some information about technology in HVAC systems. So I've added a section to that. What you'll see on the agenda, you'll see there, I did take some slides out, but I'm going to do some, since there's some board members that may not have been here at the November meeting, I'm going to touch over some high points. And then you see there areas of improvement. There's a revised version in the action plan. I'm going to update the things we talked about back in November about what's gone on since then and where we are. You go to the next slide. So real quick, talking about just HVAC, the main thing that I wanted to point out that really hit home, I know Mr. Dallas caught this, was about the performance study that was done in New York City, that just, they had not had air conditioning before. So they compared test scores without air conditioning to schools as they added them to see the improvement. And they documented an improvement of up to 14% on test scores. So that just reiterates how important we all recognize that having functional HVAC systems are. Next slide. So one of the things that we do want to track is the FCA that was done in 2022. And just to document that, and we're going to talk about this in a little greater detail. At the time in 2022, they had shown $42 million in need for HVAC replacements, of which 28 million was needed immediately in 2022. So, and then another problem we had, remember those numbers because we're going to come back to them. We have, aging systems of R22 refrigerant that are going to be, are supposed to be replaced by 2030. So there's a large number of those that we need to address. And so we're going to talk about kind of our needs. So if you go to the next slide, back in 2022 at the FCA, we had over 1,500 units with R22 that need to be replaced by 2030. One of the things we're going to do between now and our 8% report, and this was something Ms. Boatwright requested, was to show the status of the 2022 FCA, what's been done, what's left to be done. We don't have that for you now, but we're going to bring that before the next 8% presentation.
Did I hear you correctly? 1,500.
1,500.
Now we're talking like window units, or we're talking roof units?
All different.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one of the things people have to recognize is we have roughly over 2,000 units, and that could be, we don't have window units per se, but everything from a 1.5 ton unit to what's our largest? Maybe a 40 ton?
We go as high as 60.
A 60 ton unit. So that's a unit, the cheapest anymore, that 1.5 ton may be, I don't know, $20,000. Do we even get that? 40,000?
I mean, it sure has changed recently. So, Yeah,
40
2.5 ton, you're probably looking at 15 to 20,000. I mean, the mini split systems that you see in some of these rooms are after installation, 25 to $30,000.
And that,
They're usually about 1.5 tons or 2.
and what, and everybody knows JD Atkinson, our energy manager, I have brought him here as my support arm. What's our most expensive system?
So when you get into chillers, chilled
Yeah,
water.
show me up here. Don't run away.
I'm bringing my Kit Kat wrapper with.
So what would be our most expensive? I'm just kind of curious myself. You
Yeah,
could go as high as $1 million.
I mean, we've gone as high as $1 million on just a single rooftop replacement.
So to answer your question, that's just a rough counting of everything from 1.5 ton, $20,000 unit to a 60-ton, $1 million or plus unit. So we have all of it in between.
And you said we have a total of about 2,000 and 1,500 of them are going to be need to.
Over 2,000, let's say that. And 1,500 of them back in 2022, we've replaced a lot, but back then we had 1,500 units that needed to be replaced by 2030.
So
Now,
now years to replace 1,500 units.
Right, and so Mr. Dallas asked for us to come up with a schedule. So that's our plan prior to the next 8% is what have we got done out of the 2022? And what do we need to get done to remove all our 22 units by 2020? And that's a massive undertaking. So on to HVAC investments. So what we talked about, we committed 32.5 million. Remember that number back in 2022, we had 28 million that needed to be replaced immediately. We've spent 12.5 million since 2022. Now we had 7 million planned for this summer. So this was as of July. So you can roughly say that since 2022, everything we've done this summer, we've spent $20 million. Well, back in 2022, we had 28 million in immediate needs. So just recognize those numbers. One of the things we've got to do is keep knocking out as much as we can, as quickly as we can. The next 8%, we're going to come with that schedule that we need to meet those needs. Next slide. Just this was done back in November, and recognize what we were talking about was the changeover of R22 refrigerant. Well, R22 went out in 2010 in all new units. It was no longer supplied in 2020. It's not supposed to be used after 2030. Then R410A replaced R22. As of 2024, R410A could no longer be in new units. So the next one is E32 or.
Well, there's R32 and 454B.
So as of January, what happened and what we were talking about was that since R410A was going away, all the HVAC equipment manufacturers had to retool all their factories in December, getting ready for that January changeover. We were ordering HVAC units about March, April timeframe, and ended up what happening, we couldn't have predicted back then, but the amount of R32 was the shortage. So you had all these new factories doing all this new equipment, but the amount of refrigerant to go in it was in shortage. So they all slowed down. So what we kept hearing is like, our units are going to be in by June. Then you'd hear end of June. Then you'd hear July. Then you'd hear August. So we were getting that in the run up to this summer. So one of our problems is a lot of our units didn't come in time. We had that at McCracken. So we've worked nights and weekends since they've come in. And actually, as of this week, my understanding is they're all in.
We have one split system still yet to be installed.
All but one.
All but one.
Okay. And then we talked earlier about St. Helena came in later. And so those will be done in the October break. So just kind of backing up what we told you in November were problems that we saw coming. Well, they ended up being worse than we expected. Some of the good things, of course, is the bipolar ionization systems that we put in all our larger units that helped with COVID COVID-19 and IAQ problems. We talked about back then our underperforming preventive maintenance program and how we need to improve it. And then workforce challenges, just the ability to retain staff and get contractors. So our future goals back in November, prioritize energy efficiency, expand smart HVAC with preventive maintenance capability, and then comply with regulatory changes for refrigerants. We've already kind of talked about that. And then improve workforce quality. Slide. So the areas we saw for improvement were preventive maintenance, workforce quality, contract structure, and supply chain issues. Next slide. What we think we've been able to accomplish is the preventive maintenance side. So we actually, when we reported to y'all in November, we actually met the next day with our maintenance team and started talking about the restructuring of our maintenance department. One of the things we were talking about back then was the moving of our preventive maintenance team underneath our HVAC technicians so that they could oversee them and train them. We had lots of conversations and they've started to put some of that into motion. Actually, that has gone into motion. The HVAC manager is now over the preventive maintenance team. We also talked about doing more night work. That hasn't gone into effect yet. But we set up our Sodexo contract with all these things as well. And I have to say they've bought into this wholeheartedly. Their plan is going to be even different than we proposed. And I have to say I'm a fan of it and like it even more. All of our HVAC technicians under Sodexo's plan will be paired with a PM technician so that when they go out to service a unit, PM technician will come along and they'll be able to do their PMs. The HVAC technician will have an assistant in case they got to lift something heavy or need to bring something up to the unit. There's now 2 of them. That makes that easier to do. Instead of it being 2 HVAC technicians lifting something heavy, you'll now have an HVAC technician and a PM technician doing that. The HVAC technician will be able to train PM technicians as they're there, talk about what they're doing, oversee what the PM technician is got going on. So, of course, that'll all go into effect in October when Sodexo comes on board. They're also moving more of their staff to the nights so that they'll be able to work on these units when people are not in the building, so they can shut them down, do more replacements without impacting class. So we're very excited about the program that they're bringing forward and looking forward to the rewards of that. So we've worked on that. Workforce quality. So that's something we have continued to struggle with, but what we've done since November is we've brought in outside contractors to assist our maintenance team. So what we've had is our maintenance team being more the put out fires, everything's come up, they address them immediately. If it takes more than 1 or 2 hours for the work to occur, they're going to go to one of the outside contractors, and their instruction is to assess the equipment and fix everything you can possible with that equipment. We feel like we've been very successful with that. Last summer, being summer 2024, we had some catastrophic failures, we'd say. I mean, there were some big items that really grabbed our attention, and that was our whole reason for doing that report back in November and making some of these changes. I'd say we've made some major improvements, and we still have room to go for improvements. But we think we've got the right people in place. Sodexo has the right attitude. They've been given the instructions. Our contract, which is the next item with Sodexo, has been set up so that we can be successful in that realm. So we're looking forward to what we're able to do. I know, Commissioners, we're not there yet. We still have problems. There are still failures we're having to address. But what we have seen this summer is we don't have those catastrophic failures. We don't have major systems going down that we're waiting months to get repaired due to parts. We have systems go down, we're waiting on parts, but we're either addressing that with portable units or in a lot of instances, maybe that unit has 4 compressors and one's out.
Yeah, we've lost entire wings of schools the summer before last. I mean, it was multiple occasions of
4 compressors being out.
20 classrooms don't have air conditioning, 14 classrooms here. It was multiple situations. This year, we've had hurdles still. We haven't had those catastrophic, 20 classrooms without air conditioning. Listen, I mean, lightning could strike any one of those rooftop units and it could happen. But, I think there was a lot of progress with a shorter summer this year. I think there was a lot of progress made over the summer to get systems as close to 100% as possible.
And what we're looking forward to in the upcoming year is to have a more effective maintenance department, and the structure is there. Now we have to execute. Action plan, I think I've talked about, now the one we have not addressed and is the supply chain issues. So that is still occurring today, and it's something that going forward, we're gonna need to work on or come up with solutions for. So our actions plans back in November: develop a contractor scope of work, restructure the maintenance department, overhaul the PM program, format future maintenance contract, and upgrade the VMS system. Next slide, Rob. And we feel like we have done all of those items except the last one. The upgrade of the VMS system is a major overhaul, and basically our goal since November has been structure the contract, get a contractor on board that's going to address our concerns, which we feel like we've done. Now we've got to get them on board. We're right now in the transition month. Yeah. Sodexo ABM is still here. Sodexo takes over October 1st. So all that is in place to get going. Once we get that in place, we're going to then start focusing on the BMS system, which is basically our work order system, our tracking of all the other things that go on in our buildings, such as facility use, asset management, preventive maintenance. So all that will occur. All right, I'm gonna stop right there before I go into the computer portion of what we've added. Any questions on what we've done since November?
So, I'm not kicking the can down the road. However, how do we package this to fill out needs for a next possible referendum? Because we're already, we know that there's gonna be a phase 3. That Frank is planning on a phase 3 referendum. How much of this is going to be in that? I mean, if we still have millions and millions and millions of dollars of need, how do we package this so it doesn't look like we're kicking the can down the road and waiting on a possible referendum? Because we can't. We have to do everything that we can now with the money that we have. 2 in the hands worth 1 in the bush kind of thing, right? But understand that that could be a significant amount of justification for another referendum. And if people are tired of their kids going to school without air conditioning, guess what? We have this need. It was identified back in 2019. We're trying to fill the need. We can't. Can we package this for 27 referendum?
So my answer to that question is when we come to you with our 8% list in April, we've already been given the assignment for Mr. Dallas and Ms. Boatwright to compare it to the 2022 FCA. And then Mr. Dallas bring the plan of what's it going to take to get us to 2030. And quite honestly, I haven't started working on it, so I don't know what that number is going to be.
Fair enough.
I can tell you it's going to be a very big number that we're going to say that we have to do every year in order to make that goal. I don't know how big. I'm foreshadowing it's going to be big. That's in order to make it.
The cost has increased since we came up with that the $28 million that we needed
20
then
years ago is more now.
is much more now.
Yeah, of course, inflation and all that kind of stuff and tariffs and blah.
New equipment,
It's my opinion, it's a giant racketeering outfit. It's these air conditioning units last 15 years, but the refrigerant only makes it 10, 12 years. So I don't know. It's just, so how?
Get an argument from me.
So it's just, I don't know. It bothers me, but
we're constantly looking for better equipment, better contractors. We actually had a conversation with one today. about their ability and what they're able to provide. So we're on both sides, those that install it and the equipment type, we're constantly looking for better equipment because yeah, we're not satisfied on either side.
Find like an equipment manufacturer that can change refrigerants. Tell me so I can invest in them.
Or just one that works and it shows up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, little things. All right, anybody online have questions, comments, concerns up to this point before we go into computer stuff?
Mr. Chair,
Sir, yes, sir.
I just would like to congratulate you and the operations committee, the operations team, because a lot of hard work has gone into this. And as noted earlier, it was a huge mountain to climb, but there's a plan to climb it. And so I'm very impressed by what I've seen so far, and thanks to the entire group of participants. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. And on to the next. All right.
So, this is to answer your question, Mr. Smith, about technology in HVAC equipment, because yes, they are now, they're little computer or big computers, depending on their size. One of the things, the reason why I brought this up is this just recognizes that, there's always this question about whether we turn HVAC systems off summer. We do not. What we do set is occupied and unoccupied scheduling, and this just shows in a simple how you can set that up for one location, in that you can set it up certain hours to be occupied, which is just say in the summer is set at 73, 72 to 74 degrees, and then an unoccupied schedule, which may be 78 to 80. And so when people aren't in the building, we allow the temperatures to go up. When they are in the building, we bring the temperatures down, and we start it well ahead of people entering to ensure they're at the temperatures they can be. In the summer, a building may remain unoccupied, but that doesn't mean that the system's not running. It means that the set point is going to be 80 degrees or somewhere between 78 and
That's right. That's 78, between 78 and 80 is usually standard.
yeah. And so that's the, so it is running, especially in the heat of the summer, just not.
Except for critical areas, places where, uniforms are stored, media centers, we try to tweak temperatures to where it maintains it. Keeps humidity under control and everything else.
So, I mean, is this an example of an actual system that comes on at 5 o'clock in the morning? How far ahead of building occupation do we turn the air conditioning?
Depends on
back?
the.
And it also depends on the space. A bigger space usually takes a little longer, but a standard, pretty much a standard would be 2 hours before occupancy. 2 hours with systems that are running correctly, 2 hours is almost always just fine. That's plenty enough time for everything to get preconditioned when people start walking in the buildings.
Is there, not that I'm trying to cheat anybody out of the air conditioning, but I mean, is there any data that says if we wait till an hour before occupancy, that may improve system life or anything of that nature? Like, I'm just looking to shave off either money and or, wear and tear.
Process. What we found is usually the teachers tell us how things work. So if I'm not getting any calls, I know that 2 hours is fine. If I do shift it to an hour, I'm an energy manager, I want to save as much energy as possible. But if I shift it to an hour start time, I usually get an email in the first couple of weeks of school that says, hey, it usually takes till 11 o'clock to cool my room down, or, I'll get some sort of an email that tells me which way I need to go.
That didn't cut it.
Yeah. I always try to
Fair enough.
I always try to nudge things as much as I can.
My own edification. Thank you. Trying to be educated in all this. So.
So to understand your question then, because I think you started my question, but I think you took it a little left. So you're saying that you prefer to your question was bring it to basically doing an hour versus 2 hours? Is that what your question?
I'm just saying, is there any cost benefit to electricity or to wear and tear on the unit if we, instead of starting 2 hours before, we only go 1 hour before occupancy?
Okay, right, okay, and that's where you lost me right there. I had the same question. The 1 hour, I know definitely will make it because teachers gonna complain about the building sometimes being not cool enough now as well as the kids, but also uh I'm looking for some data that supports us doing that because what I've been understanding is that when you're pushing them to push that within that 2 hour frame, you're pushing the units harder than versus having the units continuously go. And normally cut on every now and then and knock off. And if that was the unit's not really working harder as it is when you cut it off completely, or well, not complete, but however y'all want to identify and say how y'all do it, how y'all dwindle it. From what my understanding is that that's how we're killing our units, is because we're cutting them off at a certain time. We know people are leaving out of the buildings. You have to call the district and say, hey, look here, we're having a PTO meeting. Could you turn that? Could you leave it on? Or those for us, those are things. I'm looking for some size, some black and white. I know we can find data for anything. I'm looking for some data that support what we're currently doing. Because from what I've been told that's not really saving us over a period of time, because it hurts us, because the agency guy may tell you even a couple times in the winter time, just cut it on and cut it off, just kind of get the lube and things going, and you get it flowing. So that's what my concern is in terms of that.
There's so many different factors that go into the energy savings part. I mean, if you're starting a building at 2 hours earlier in August, is a big difference. There's I mean, you all know it gets down to 80 some degrees. That's the low at night. So you've got that load in the morning, that heat load in that building of all night. It's been 82 and not running. So you have to pick up the entire load in that building. That's going to cost you more energy and longer run times, compressors constantly running instead of staging on and off. It's certainly ideal to be able to start staging compressors at 7 o'clock in the morning, because you've satisfied that building. The temperatures have started to come down in that building. It'll save you more money than trying to run full bore until noon to get caught up. So there's a lot of factors in play, but when you start to try to calculate everything, age of the unit, how efficient is it running? I mean, it's a lot of things that would go into play. I mean, you could grab data from this unit or this area to do just a blanket catch-all. It would be real tough. That'd be real tough.
We have looked, I mean, the closest we can get to that, we have looked at our energy savings for the week during the Christmas holiday when we turn our units off. I mean, our peak energy unit usage is in July and August. And we can already see, I'm gonna say this too, that we're spending more on energy since our summers are shorter, and we're using our buildings in August and July more. Our energy usage and our cost is going up. But I would also say that over the Christmas holiday, we shut down for a week. We've calculated that. It's been a couple of years, but it used to be like that week we'd save $150,000 with what we're doing. It would only be higher now. So that's the only way I can say a direct cost from all our buildings being shut down was $150,000 a week. And then when we do our energy report, you can see, in last time we did it, we showed that uptick that we had this year in August, because we used our buildings 2 weeks earlier than we have in the past. So that's almost a direct correlation when you look at past how much we spent. That additional cost was for that 2 weeks in August when we were running our buildings, and we haven't done that in the past.
Right. Maybe I'm misled. I'm not really concerned about. I don't care about cost. I'm talking in terms of a long haul and saving the equipment versus cutting it off. Like my head, versus with cutting it off, going from from whatever it may be right now, it may be maybe it's 60, okay, yeah, from going from 68, but they push it, going from 68 to 75, to still having to chill the room down versus being OFF or on idle. That's my concern versus, and doing that, having the actual system working harder, trying to put the building where we want to get to that 68. That is what that is, are we killing our equipment by doing that, by idling it down that low and having it go every morning? That's what my understanding is.
So if I can't, what I'll answer that, you're exactly right, that the worst thing you can do to a compressor is shut it on and off, right?
The start and stops are what kill
Yes,
motors.
so,
Right.
yeah. So one thing is you don't want to undersize or even oversize an air conditioning. If you oversize it, shutting off and on too long.
Right.
Now, what I would say we do on our side to help with that is that almost all our new units would have variable speed compressors, which means they don't just slam on and slam off. They slowly come up every time they come on. And they also have multiple stage compressors. So you have, and now you can take over it.
You're doing fine.
And so you start it up, but it's an extra cost to add that, but we add that to everyone we can, that it'll slowly wind up. So it's not slamming on and off and slowly shut down, and you stage the compressors. So one starts slowly, then the next will start up, and then the next, if you're coming all the way on.
Yeah, technology's definitely caught up to what was killing equipment.
Right, okay.
I mean, and the efficiency is better, everything's better because it cuts power usages. You throttle those compressors back down and everything else. And that's not going to save our 25-year-old units. I mean, they're getting hammered on and off, and yes, they're just going to die eventually. But so we just go out and repair them. But as we replace equipment, I mean, that all that technology has gotten better, not cheaper, but it has gotten better.
And it makes it more complicated.
It makes it more complicated, all kinds of PC boards in there and instead of relays now.
Which I will be.
Oh, I didn't mean to skip that on you.
No. Yeah, you're gonna get to shine here in a second.
No.
So, actually, the reason why, this is just an example of one individual unit. Expand that screen out where you have it on there. It just shows you everything that we see on a room. You can see down here, the zone temperature in this room is 65 degrees. The set point in this room, so actually this room for some is too cold. I
took the one screenshot where it's
so you can see the, this is a VAV box, and you can see the air coming in and what the temperature's coming out. You can also see the adjustment. So it's set at 72. The slide there says they've moved it down to negative 1 degree less than the set point. So that's just to show you kind of what that is, that it looks like for an individual classroom. Next slide. So this is one of our larger rooftop units, and it shows a lot of things going on here. Go ahead, JD.
No, I've never seen that before.
Well, basically what we look for on a large unit like this, so it comes in, we can see, you look at the very top, you see the air coming in, the temperature is 80.6 degrees. So you can see it coming in. This right here, that slide across the middle that's blue and white is called an empathy wheel. It's actually taking the exhaust air, cold exhaust air, and mixing it with the warm air coming in. On this option, it shows that the damper going out is closed, the air coming in is closed. So this one's just recirculating in the building itself. That little blue box shows that there are actually 2 compressors. Both of them in this situation are off. It's got 81 degrees at that point, and it has 60.7 coming out. So I don't know why that is. And then you can
probably satisfied.
And then you see all the room temperatures that this one unit is serving. This just can illustrate that from our computer, we can see a lot and impact a lot. And this is just one unit that has multiple parts. And that also shows you what can go down with the unit. I mean, and so a lot of times you hear, well, the unit's never fixed. Well, there may be 30 parts in here that could go down, and one may be down one time and one may down another time. And so that was the whole reason to show this. So I don't, any questions you have? And I think that's the end of what I've got. Any question about the technology in our units?
I guess the only, are we tracking historical data? Per unit or per building or for like zones or, I mean, what type of numerical data are we archiving based on what's coming out of these machines?
It's really hard to get a prolonged archive because of the memory usage that these systems eat up. The software said we set up trends and they may go for a week. So we can trend how the unit's been doing for a week, discharge air temperatures, has the fan, we can tell exactly what time a fan would have gone down if there was a problem. If we got a call and said, hey, it's 86 degrees in my room, we can usually tell and graph the temperatures and see when a unit went down, what time that temperature got to that point. We can see all those trends. But to archive all that data, it would take some upgrades to do that. But we do kind of just, I guess we use our energy reports to kind of see how schools are performing. Would go deeper into performance on actual each individual unit. We can trend out to some point. I'd have to talk to Frank and see how far back those trends go.
I mean, kind of to answer somewhat, we've not used historical data to the level that you're asking. We're using like for repair, like over a week period. We have not used it for years or whatever. And quite honestly, I don't know how far back it can go either. That's not kind of its purpose that we use it for, but.
Yeah, but I'm just asking, okay, just so we can track based on particular air conditioning units, operate best if you turn them on this time in the morning and allow to cool this many hours before. You mentioned the load first thing in the morning. Would it be beneficial to, at the coldest part of the night, 3 a.m. in the morning, would it be beneficial to turn the air conditioners on then because the heat load on the building is at its lowest point theoretically? I mean, just stuff like that, that's all, I guess.
So what I will tell you, in one of our strategies for when air conditioning units are having problems is we will run them 24 hours because they are able to get that. They can start off the day, at a cold point, because they may struggle for the rest of the day because there's something wrong with that unit. That's not uncommon for us to do. So I don't know if that answers. So yeah, there is some advantages in doing that when you need to. But a unit, and when JD said, as long as it's functioning, it can catch up in time. It doesn't need to start way ahead. But let's say it has problems, well, we may start it earlier. And then the weather is all a factor too. I mean, if it's 80 degrees, is way different than it being 100. There used to be like Robert Smalls. I'll give the old Robert Smalls building. Was it winter and summer?
Mm-hmm.
Those units could not, and they were functioning as best they could, just the way the design of those units are, they couldn't keep up on hot days or really cold days. So we'd have to run those 24/7 just to keep that building close. And it wasn't anything, that's when the unit's perfect. I mean, that's the best they can
Functioning as designed.
Yeah, that's the best. And that gets us back to some of our older units were designed for a 95-degree day.
That's a great point. Our older units, within the last, I would say, 5 years, every unit before that was designed for an ambient outside temperature to work at the maximum of 95 degrees outside. Well, we've obviously surpassed that several times in that time, but now we design for 105 as Those are the specs we want. If it's 105 degrees outside, we want to be able to put out that 55 degrees or whatever our set point is. So that's how we design systems now. And I hope it doesn't have to go any higher than that anytime soon.
Well, okay. Smith, got anything? Anybody have anything online? Mr. Carr?
We're good here.
Anybody
Thanks
else?
for the report. Very helpful.
Nothing here, sir.
All right, save rounds going once, going twice, and we are adjourned. Oh, future topics, my apologies, sorry. Man, I'm trying, I tried, I really tried.
Done.
Future topic coming out of the board meeting, it was quality management, quality materials that was assigned to operations. So
All right,
that was Mr. Smith's, and he can expand on it.
quality materials, quality management.
And
Selection of construction materials, correct?
You say, yeah.
So we will have that October meeting.
When do we get the stuff from the buses?
Stuff on buses.
Yeah, bus routes and all that.
Bus routes are out now.
Did it come before the board?
You're right, it does need to come before.
Yeah, I come before.
I don't, let me check on that. That's something we may need to bring to the, we don't have it for the upcoming board meeting, but I will get you the date, because actually it's sometime in that the R19s are due, and then those have to be approved by the board. So I don't have a date in mind, but it's soon, so I will check on that.
Thought the chair would have got that. I thought the chair would have got that.
Yeah, cool, thanks.
But yeah, bus definitely want to talk about buses, and about those routes and how many buses and stuff we have as well. Right.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? I'd like to, can anybody locate this book of everything I'm supposed to track? That'd be cool, that'd be beneficial.
Do homework.
I move we adjourn.
Agreed.
Secondly.
Thank you.
Thank you.